An introduction. Everything has one. There isn't a person, place, or thing in this existence that doesn't, for it is an introduction that stands as the genesis of our impressions on a particular concept. These presentations can be grand or simple, self-produced or involuntary, pertain to reality or, in this case, fiction. I believe that I speak for a vast portion of people when I say that an introduction in any type of fictional story is extremely important, whether we're speaking about the intro to the beginning of the story itself, one of its sagas or arcs, or its characters. When introducing a story overall, you want to do so in a way that hooks the reader or watcher and gets them excited to continue on and see how the story grows and evolves. With an arc or saga, it's more about getting the audience hyped for what's to come in that specific part of the story, to see how it relates to everything that's been established and how it will affect what comes later on. For a character, it gets even more simple than that. What counts the most in this case is first impressions. It's the circumstances that they're introduced under and their attitude that sets them up for whatever role they'll take in the story and dictates whether you feel you'll like them or not, and to what degree. It goes without saying that not every character can have one of the greatest introductions of all time, though, as they say, there's levels to this. There exist tons of cast members that don't have much more than their name and role given. Take a step beyond that, and you get the ones introduced in a flashy way, and then of course the occasional anticipated character reveals. Every now and then, however, there arises a storyteller who completely rewrites our preconceptions of what makes an amazing character introduction. They do this by giving us a showcase unlike anything we've ever witnessed out of a fictional story, trailblazing and innovating the art of character introduction in ways we couldn't even imagine beforehand. And so today, I want to give a retrospective on an introduction that I personally and boldly tout as one of the greatest in all of anime and manga, a work of art given to us by none other than the late great Akira Toriyama, the introduction of Future Trunks. The inception of Future Trunks is something that I see as very unique in that it stands not only as a great introduction, but also a mysterious and intentful entrance, a bone-chilling transformation sequence, and a bundle of shocking revelations all in one. It also acts as a kickstart to one of the greatest sagas of all time, making it even more impressive that Toriyama was able to fuse the concepts of a character intro and the saga prelude in such a sophisticated way. All this is given to a character who never loses relevance and improves not only throughout the saga, but the entire story. Given how much would have changed if it were not for his initial appearance, that alone in my opinion already brings validity to the greatness that his introduction holds. Even so, let's take it from the top. We begin right after the finale of arguably the most intense and action-packed sagas that Dragon Ball had ever produced at that time, the Namek Saga. A year and some change in story had gone by since the events of Goku's fervid battle against Frieza atop a dying planet, and a temporary but enjoyable peace had been cultivated. With Dragon Ball being the series it is, we as the watchers and readers already expected that the peace wouldn't last. There will always be a new threat. That much is certain to anyone who has ever indulged in the series. What nobody could have expected, however, was that Frieza would somehow survive not only the fierce battle with a newly transformed Goku, but also the destruction of the planet itself, left floating alone in the vacuum of space for an unquantified amount of time. Frieza, from the very moment we learn of him, is held in regard as one of the strongest beings in the universe. Even so, rarely do enemies manage to survive their deciding encounters with our protagonist, let alone possess the gumption to re-challenge him and his friends as soon as they're able to. In this case though, it's understandable, given that he had reason to believe that Goku was as good as dead, in a place where he'd be unable to protect the Earth. And while our other warriors may have gotten stronger after the whole ordeal, they still weren't on a level high enough to be capable of defeating both Frieza and his father, even with their combined strength. This alone, even in a series where things usually work out for our heroes, creates a very tense situation that there is no definitive answer to, and leaves everyone on the edge of their seat, wondering how the crew will get out of this predicament. This is when the mysterious savior himself appears, immediately making himself out to be an ally of good, swiftly cutting down the bulk of Frieza's forces, and bearing the unforgettable Capsule Corp symbol on his jacket. Which, by the way, is only one part of one of the greatest character designs to ever come out of the Dragon Ball franchise. His unwavering disposition in challenging a foe the likes of Frieza, who he seemingly already knows based on accurately guessing his name, gives us viewers the impression that he is one not to be underestimated. Every character that ever knew of Frieza was privy to his uncanny power and the amount of destruction he could bring with just a fraction of it. He was never a being that was taken lightly. That is, until now. Our mystery man makes history by remaining as unbothered as he does by the presence of both Frieza and his father, two of the greatest threats in the universe. Only after he deals with the henchmen does he confront the head honcho himself. Despite everything Frieza has seen and how confident the man challenging him seems, he manages to keep his cool. Nonetheless, this calm conduct of his quickly fades after his opponent claims to be a Super Saiyan, to the surprise of everyone. The antagonist was swift to dismiss such a possibility, but his challenger was just as quick to prove the validity of his words in one of the most stunning transformation sequences in the entire series, which is saying a lot because it's only the second Super Saiyan transformation. He dons the same golden form that Goku used to defeat Frieza the first time around, striking absolute fear into the heart of the alien adversary through appearance alone. During the battle that ensues subsequently, our suspicions about his ability are proven correct as he makes light work of the Emperor in an entirely one-sided extermination before moving on to do the same to his dishonorable father. Afterwards, he destroys their ship as well, showing how thorough he is in getting the job done and making sure there is no remaining trouble whatsoever. Soon after, he meets the crew and assures them that he is on their side, getting comfortable with them while he awaits Goku's arrival. Comfortable is an overstatement though, as he seems somewhat on edge despite trying to appear calm and collected. An unexpected attitude from someone who just beat two incredibly powerful beings without breaking a sweat. Goku arrives sometime later and, as expected, everyone, save for Vegeta of course, is ecstatic to see their old friend in good health after all he went through in outer space. After our heroes take some time to catch up with each other, the mysterious youth then asks for a few moments alone with Goku, as there are some important things he wishes to relay as well. This is where things get very interesting. After a quick yet captivating spar between the two in their Super Saiyan forms, which leaves Vegeta crying in the corner wishing he was as strong as them, the young man introduces himself as Trunks, and there's no shortage of information that leaves his mouth that would fail to leave anyone's jaw dropped. He starts off by explaining that he is from 20 years in the future, and that he is a hybrid Saiyan just like Goku's son, Gohan, revealing that he would be born in 2 years from the current time, receiving his human blood from a woman of earthly origin, and his Saiyan blood from his father, Vegeta. This greatly shocks and even gladdens Goku, but Trunks sternly expresses that he has much more pressing info to impart. He then goes on to explain that in 3 years' time, there would surface a dreadful duo, a pair of twin androids, that ends up bringing unparalleled chaos and threatening the integrity of the world. He continues, elaborating that the couple in question were brought into existence by one of Goku's former enemies. It happens to be one of the scientists of the old Red Ribbon Army that he allowed to escape, Dr. Gero, seeking to extract his revenge. It goes without saying that Goku's clash with the Red Ribbon Army occurred long ago when he was just a child, but the catastrophic adverse effects of not finishing the job with its remaining members is a mistake on his end, which presumably is what gives Trunks the no playing with his food-esque attitude that he has. He claims that in his time he's doing all that he can to combat them on his own with limited help and resources. When Goku asks why the others aren't helping, we learn that they all died trying their absolute best to defend the Earth from the androids, save for Gohan, who would lose his life only after 13 years of engaging in a desperate skirmish, while also doing his best to train Trunks, and that Goku himself died of a heart virus before the conflict even started. Luckily enough though, Trunks brought along with him a cure for the illness that Goku would eventually contract, created by his mother, who was adamant about the fact that Goku's presence would make a great difference in the upcoming battle. As Goku is shocked to find out that he also knows Trunks' mother, he asks who she is, and once again we are all shocked to learn that it's none other than the first friend our protagonist ever made on his long journey, Bulma. The young man gives the antidote to Goku and tells him that he'll be fine if he takes it when he catches the virus, and thanks Goku for giving him the chance to meet and relay everything before setting out back to the future, concluding his grand introduction, which prepares us for what's to come. Now you can call that glazing if you want, but I honestly don't think I've seen a better intro for a character in all the media I've consumed. Either that, or I would be very hard pressed to try and remember one off the top of my head. Going back to what I said at the beginning of this video, This is really only an introduction in name, and I want to touch on that a little bit more. I say this because while the main point of this whole thing was to bring a new and interesting character to light, Toriyama ended up ticking off way more boxes than he needed to. For one, it's kind of funny and even a little ironic that our actual intro to meeting this character and learning about him occurs towards the tail end of the encounter, which is the complete reverse of how it usually happens, obviously. The first thing it's preceded by is one of the cleanest entrances in anime and manga. The way I like to put it is that you can have an entry without an introduction from a character you already know. We've seen this kind of approach many different times in several series, whether it's Luffy pulling up to Marineford, Naruto joining the battle against Pain, or Ichigo clutching the save in the Soul Society. I mean, you honestly don't even need to look further than Dragon Ball when we're talking entrances either. Like, Goku is literally the physical incarnation of last second arrivals, the actual definition of saving the best for last. I cannot count on all 10 fingers, 10 toes, 2 testicles, and 1 penis the amount of times this man has arrived on the battlefield with all his friends on 1 HP. Sometimes Buddy doesn't even make it on time. Can't find many other main characters aside from Goku who would find his 5-year-old son with a broken neck and remain as calm as he managed to. I know you're leaking, son, but good shit for hanging in there though. Like, that's actually insane, but I'm getting off topic. Point is, entrances don't have to coincide with introductions, but the latter usually needs the former, and Toriyama really wasn't obligated to make it as cold as he did for Trunks. I'm not complaining though. The decision for Trunks to just hop in on the scene and solo the biggest threat of the series so far, and his father, was definitely one that got the undivided attention of everyone. Another area this intro hits hard in is as a transformation sequence. Flashy transformations have been a focal point of most shonen anime and manga for a very long time, and Dragon Ball was one of the first ones to popularize it. So naturally, this one was bound to be incredible. Firstly, we all knew about Super Saiyan, but what we didn't know was that any Saiyan could achieve this form. Seeing Trunks transform was shocking for many reasons, as it proved that there was another Saiyan aside from Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan. It also taught us that Super Saiyan was not unique to Goku. Aside from what we learned from it, it's also just generally speaking a visually stunning sequence. The subtle aura, Trunks' eyes turning green, the expression of pure fear on Frieza's face. My personal favorite part is definitely when he powers up and all the bodies of the soldiers he just cut down go flying up in the air. Everything about it was just absolute chef's kiss. And last but not least, the amount of info we get from Trunks himself just setting up the upcoming arc is incredible to hear. Like I said, there wasn't a single thing to come out of his mouth that didn't leave a good 95% of Dragon Ball fans shocked. Yo, what's going on? It's Future Tensa here. Tearing away from the script a little bit, I wanted to touch on something that I came across when I was doing research for this video and obviously just making it in general. I wanted to show you guys this right here. I came across this art piece, found the artist, asked them if I could use it. They said yes, thankfully, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Obviously very relevant to the topic. This art piece is, it's incredible, obviously. But aside from just how good it looks, one thing that I realized in looking at this art piece and how relevant it was to the video that I was making, obviously, was that even aside from the things that Trunks tells us about and the things we learn from him, there's so much that we don't really know about. Like, Trunks really only gave Goku the cliff notes and what he really absolutely needed to know to be able to prevent things from going the way that they would eventually go. But we still don't know the details of everything that happened. 20 years is a very long time. And I just think that this art piece is brilliant because it really puts into perspective one of the many possibilities that could have happened in that amount of time. Gohan obviously being the last survivor of all the Z fighters, it really makes you think what he had to go through, who he had to protect, and how fervently he had to protect them. This is just one of many possibilities that we never saw. What was it exactly that made Gohan, trigger and go into Super Saiyan for the first time? What was it that he had to go through to help Bulma and train Trunks and all that extra stuff? We don't know a lot of that stuff. We know that he wasn't able to see his mother as much, just because he was constantly out fighting the androids and training with Trunks and trying to find ways of taking them down. And eventually, one day, he walked out and never saw her again. She never saw him again. And You know, there's plenty of things for sure that Trunks went through that we also don't know about. Things that Bulma, Chi-Chi, however many of the cast is still left alive went through that we just really don't know because Trunks never really explained it. And I think this art piece is brilliant because it kind of puts that into perspective. Beautiful art piece, very emotional. And yeah, I just wanted to bring that up real quick. Link to the artists will be in the description. Thank you for allowing me to use it. And back to the video. Toriyama really was in his bag writing-wise when it came to this arc, and all of it truly did pay off, resulting in one of the most intense and emotionally driven parts of the series. Never forget though, that it all started with future Trunks. And with that, we have reached the end of the video. Obviously, thank you guys for watching if you've made it this far. This outro is going to be a little different just because I wanted it to be unscripted. Normally, if it's unscripted, it'd just be something I'd be doing on a whim just because I want to, I guess. But actually, I have two reasons for this. First reason is that I want to get a little more consistent with content. And I know I've said that a million times in the past, but this time I actually really do mean it. And I feel like just in preparation for that, like I'm going to need to start doing more unscripted content just because it makes the process a little faster, and I think that would be really helpful for me in getting more content out. So yeah, you guys can absolutely hold me to that if you want. I'm planning on uploading at least once a month, so look forward to it. I'll be looking forward to it too. I know you wouldn't expect the guy that has to do all the work to be looking forward to it, but I do enjoy doing this, so there's that. And the other thing that I kind of wanted to make this unscripted for is obviously this is a Dragon Ball video, first very high effort video since the actual passing of Akira Toriyama happened earlier this year, and with such a video being on such a topic, I wanted to just give thanks to the man himself for having created such a great series. Only thanks to him creating it, I'm even able to sit here and talk about it, and just in general really enjoy it even when the camera's off. It's something that I hold very close and dear to my heart, and so many others enjoy it just as much, if not more so, than I do. He inspired many series, and just in general impacted so many just people, places, and things across the world with this series alone, and his impact can't really be understated. And the impact of this series in general, just it will continue to inspire for generations to come as well, and it won't be forgotten anytime soon. But yeah, just wanted to take 1 second to give recognition to where it deserves to go. I guess if there's any one thing I want to end this video off with, and leave you personally watching this video with, it'd be, in his own words, to tackle life with as much energy as Goku. I really love that quote by him because it shows just how much he recognized the reach of Goku and how many people he inspired with that character, through that character. But yeah, as always, this has been Tenta. Stay easy, guys.